ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ cost center ਵਿੱਚ cost apportionment. What is cost apportionment? We take some predetermined basis like floor area, like points, like direct wages. We take predetermined basis and we allocate the cost. We apportion the cost. Next is the cost absorption. Cost absorption, we take some percentage of direct material, percentage of labor cost. We can also take machine hour rate, labor hour rate for the cost absorption. Now we will discuss in today's class about the elements of cost and classification of cost and cost sheet. We will cover three topics. Just in elements of cost, we will discuss introduction element, and we had already discussed the absorption costing. In classification of cost, we will discuss introduction, classification, cost, behavior analysis, and segregation of the semi and variable cost. So, before starting the chapter of classification of cost, we will discuss elements of cost. What are the elements of cost? Cost, as I have earlier told you in last class, cost is divided into two parts, direct cost and indirect cost. Direct cost is related to material, related to labor, related to the direct expenses. What is indirect cost? That is the overheads. Overheads related to production overhead, admin overhead, selling overhead, and distribution overhead. These are the elements of cost. You can say these are the material are the elements, labor is the element, direct expenses is the elements of cost. In elements of cost, we have already discussed either it is a direct material or indirect material. Employee cost or labor cost. Direct labor, indirect labor. Direct expenses, indirect expenses. कोई भी हो सकता है. Overheads, production, admin and selling overheads. Production overheads, we can also say the factory overheads. Admin overheads related to administrative expenses. Selling overhead related to the selling expenses, and distribution overhead related to marketing expenses. So, we will discuss the elements of cost. In elements of cost, we have a formula that is direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses becomes the prime cost. What it becomes? The prime cost. Next is the work cost, or we can say factory cost. It is prime cost plus factory overhead expenses. Factory cost is equal to, your work cost is equal to prime cost. Prime cost is direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses. Plus factory overhead is the factory cost. Third is the cost of production. In last class मैं छुड़वाया सी cost of production ਆਪਾਂ next class ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. Here it is the cost of production. Cost लगी किसी भी product ਨੂੰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ, that is the cost of production. ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ direct material, direct labor, direct expenses and factory overhead expenses are there. That is the cost of production. मैं एक overview दे रही हूँ. Then we will discuss the detailed cost sheet. It is work or factory cost plus office and administration overheads. Next is the cost of sales. Cost of sales is cost of production plus selling and distribution overheads. This is the prime cost. This is the prime cost, factory cost, cost of production and cost of sales. Next, we will see about the inventory. What does inventory comprises of? Inventory comprises of, first is raw material, second is WIP, that is work in progress, and third is finished goods. We had discussed cost of production is factory cost plus office and admin expenses. Cost of sales is cost of production plus selling and distribution overhead. But what does inventory comprises of? That is raw material, work in progress and finished goods. So raw material cost is adjusted at raw material stage only, consumed stage. Raw material is adjusted at, raw material cost is adjusted at raw material consumed stage. WIP adjusted at work cost stage. FG adjusted at cost of production stage. We will discuss opening stock of raw material or closing stock of material. It is adjusted in raw material consumed stage. WIP, opening WIP, closing WIP. We will adjust it at work cost stage. Finished good inventory, either opening, either closing is adjusted at cost of production stage. So, elements of cost, we had discussed material, labor, and direct expenses, which is either direct or indirect, and production, admin, selling, and distribution. Next slide, we have direct cost, indirect cost. Direct cost and indirect cost. Whether material, whether labor, whether expenses. Direct cost comprises of material cost, labor cost, expenses is known as total of all three is known as prime cost. Indirect expenses, material, labor, and expenses is production overheads, selling admin overhead, R&D overhead, and selling, you can say selling and distribution overheads. In last class, we had discussed absorbed overheads and under and over absorbed overheads. Under and over absorbed overheads, which is related to production overhead, comes under the production overhead. Next is our total of this is our prime cost plus production overhead, that is a factory cost, is the factory cost. Work cost. Prime cost plus factory overhead or production overhead or work overhead is the factory cost. Factory cost add office, add admin, add selling is the cost of with stock adjustment of FG is the cost of sales. It is the cost of sales. And here it is the stage of cost of production. Difference between cost of sales and sales is the profit. So now we will discuss at what stage, what is the actual format of the cost sheet. We will discuss these later. So here it is a brief description: cost, direct and indirect, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, indirect cost, factory overhead, admin overhead, selling overhead. Total of direct material, direct labor, direct expenses is the prime cost. Prime cost plus factory overhead is the factory cost. Factory cost plus admin overhead is the cost of production. Cost of production plus selling overhead is the cost of sales. Cost of sales and sales difference is the profit. This is the brief description of the cost sheet. Have a look and then we will I will write how we do the adjustments in the cost sheet related to inventory of raw material, WIP and FG. Have a look on this cost sheet and we will start with the detailed format of cost sheet. Okay. Detailed format of cost sheet particulars, amount and amount. So we will take opening stock of material, you can say raw material, plus purchase of raw material minus closing stock of raw material plus direct charges related to raw material, that is royalty paid or other expenses, direct freight paid to procure the raw material is the direct charges. Then total is raw material consumed. Raw material consumed. Raw material consumed consists of opening stock of raw material plus purchases minus closing stock plus direct charges related to the RM. Next is the prime cost, which includes direct labor, or we can say employee cost, and direct expenses. Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses is the prime cost. But direct charges or expenses which is related to the raw material, which is directly identifiable, is adjusted in the raw material consumed. Raw material consumed plus direct labor plus direct expenses becomes the prime cost. In prime cost, we adjust production overheads, we can say factory overheads, and works overhead. It becomes the gross work oblique factory cost. It becomes the gross work oblique factory cost because we have to adjust here is the WIP, work in progress. Add opening stock of WIP minus closing stock of WIP. It becomes the work oblique factory cost. Prime cost is direct expenses plus direct labor plus direct material. Material, labor and expenses directly is equal to prime cost. Add production overhead, adjustment of WIP opening and closing, we get the factory or work cost. In work cost, we add administrative overheads, plus quality control cost, plus research and development cost. We get the, here we will also do the, this is the major thing, scrap, or we can say credit for recoveries, scrap, byproduct, or miscellaneous income. We adjust here in the cost of production. That means minus करते हैं. Sometimes cost raw material prime cost के ऊपर raw material consumed which we ਕਈ persons scrap ਨੂੰ minus ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, but the right method which is generally used is cost of production ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ factory cost which we adjust, we minus the credit, because scrap ਨੂੰ you can say ਉਹਨੂੰ sell off ਕਰਕੇ recoveries ਹੋਈਆਂ ਜਾਂ by products ਤੋਂ ਕੁਝ incomes ਹੋਈਆਂ, miscellaneous incomes. Let's take an example of a company which is a manufacturing of, you can say, selling of into a milk business. Milk business ਤੋਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ butter ਵੀ and ਲੱਸੀ ਵੀ ਦਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਵੀ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ before pasteurization process. So they buy, you cannot say a byproduct, you can say a joint products ਵੀ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. That is a different type of costing, but I'm giving you an example. For example, in a steel industry ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਨੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਪੀਸ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ oval shape ਦਾ ਪੀਸ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਟੀਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੱਟ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਈਡ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, that is under the scrap process. ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ realize ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕੁਝ realization amount, that is a scrap, and that should be minus from the factory cost. Next is packing. That is very, very important. Packing charges, packing is of two types. First is primary and second is secondary. Primary packing, for example, we take an example of a chocolate dairy Kit Kat ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇੱਕ ਸਿਲਵਰ ਕਲਰ ਦਾ ਰੈਪਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਸਿਲਵਰ ਕਲਰ ਦੇ ਰੈਪਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਾਕਲੇਟ ਰੈਪਡ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, that is a primary packing. And ਉਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਪੈਕੇਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, that is also comes under the primary packing. But if we take lots and lots of chocolate and it should be put in a particular box so that 10 packets the 10 chocolates ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪੈਕੇਟ ਬਣਿਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਲੈਕਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ person ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ distributor ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈ, wholesaler ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਾ, that is comes under the secondary packing. How will we treat packing cost, primary or secondary, in the cost sheet? We will discuss. Primary packing cost is treated in the adjusted in the cost of production, before cost of production. Factory cost, add admin, add quality control, add research cost, minus credit for recoveries, add packing and primary cost. We get the cost of production. In cost of production, we will adjust opening stock of finished goods minus closing stock of, because finished goods is adjusted in cost of production to get the cost of sales, cost of goods sold. Closing stock of finished goods. This is minus. Here I take minus and minus. Now we will get the cost of goods sold after the adjustment of opening and closing stock of FG in the cost of production. We will get the cost of goods sold. Then we add selling and distribution overhead. we will get the cost of sales. If we add profit, we get the sales amount. This is the detailed format of cost sheet. Any doubt to anyone in this cost sheet, detailed format of cost sheet? Anyone? If no, then please say no or yes. Okay. Here we have done the elements of cost and detailed cost sheet. Now it's a classification of cost. In CAS 1 of cost accounting standard is the CAS 1. It is the CAS 1 is the classification of cost. We have 24 cost accounting standards till date. CAS 1 is the classification of cost. It says that cost is divided into many parts, that is on the basis of expense, on the basis of cost object, on the basis of function, on the basis of behavior, or on the basis of the production or operation process. On the basis of nature of expense, it is a material, labor, and direct expenses. Material, labor, and direct expenses. On the basis of the cost object, that is the indirect cost and direct cost. On the basis of function, it is a production, admin, selling and distribution, R&D. This is all on the basis of the function. On the basis of behavior, fixed cost and semi-variable cost. Your fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. On the basis of the production or operation purpose. Now, on the basis of nature of an expense, material, labor, and employee, and expenses, direct expenses. On the basis of cost object, it's a direct material, direct employee, or direct expenses, direct and indirect cost, indirect material, indirect employee, and indirect expenses. On the basis of function, production, admin, selling, and distribution, research, and development. On the basis of behavior, fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. We will discuss also on the basis of operation process, job cost, batch cost, contract cost, process cost, and joint cost. These are the different chapters which we will discuss, which is in your syllabus. If we say cost behavioral analysis on the basis of fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. We can say what is a fixed cost means. Fixed cost is that cost which remains constant even if the number of units increases or decreases. It is a fixed cost. It does not depend upon the number of units. But variable cost, it varies per unit. Variable cost remains fixed over a relevant range, but it tends to directly vary with the volume of activity. It vary with the volume of activity. You can say it vary with the volume of your number of units produced, or semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost, some part is fixed and some part is variable. If we look at the trend analysis, okay, see, in total cost is on the x-axis, and in y-axis there are the number of units. Fixed cost remains fixed as the number of units increases. This is the total fixed cost. Next is the total variable cost. It increases when number of units increases. Next is fixed cost per unit. If we say fixed cost per unit, it remains less is if number of units increases. Variable cost per unit is, you can say, this is the fixed cost per unit and this is the number of units. This is the total fixed cost. So if we see that, look at the trend. If we look at the trend, then total variable cost increases at a steady rate as the number of units produced increases. In figure 3, variable cost is increases. But what is in fourth, variable cost per unit? Per unit variable cost is a straight line parallel to the x-axis. This is one of the basic assumptions which shall have to be hold goods during the relevant range. We will discuss further why it is fixed. If we say it remains constant when the number of units increases. Next is the total cost. Total cost is the fixed and variable cost. Fixed cost and variable cost total. We can say it comprises of fixed and variable cost. This may be also represented as straight line curve where fixed cost is y-intercept and the variable cost is the slope of the total cost function. We can say this is the constant fixed cost and this is the variable cost and this is the total cost. This is the cost behavioral analysis. Now we will discuss related to the important topic, that is the cost sheet. Next chapter, that is the preparation of cost sheet and ascertainment of profit. In cost sheet, preparation of cost sheet, there are topics. First is meaning of cost sheet, meaning of unit costing, output costing, items that are excluded from the cost, that is very, very important in 2 marks, cost sheet and presentation of cost for information or cost statement. These are the topics, meaning and all. It is in your homework. Now we will discuss items excluded from the cost. Then we will start with the practical questions of the cost sheet. I will take one theoretical chapter, that is now items excluded from cost sheet, and then we will discuss the practical portion in today's class. Next, our topic is items excluded from cost sheet. This is a very, very important topic. First is the cash discount. Preliminary expenses written off. That is, these all are the expenses we will take up in reconciliation statement, not in the cost sheet. Dividend paid. Provision of for taxation. Transfer to reserves. Donations. Profit and loss on sale of fixed assets. Pension and gratuity. Interest paid. Income tax paid. Damages payable at cost. Goodwill written off. Provision for bad debts. And last is discount on issue of shares. These are the items we excluded from the cost sheet. Okay. Next, have a look on these items, and we will now start with question of cost sheet. How to prepare the cost sheet. In cost sheet, there are 11 questions in your module. I will write here. In cost sheet, there are question number 1 till question number 11. All are very, very important. Page number 52 of your module is MCQs type question, and page number 56 is fill-ups. These are in your homework. Do it thoroughly. In case of any doubt, you will ask. Question page number 38 are of cost sheet. Let's see किन्ने आपका कर सकते हैं questions. जिन्हें questions रह जाएंगे, that is in your homework. Now, from module page number 38, question number 4. Have a look on the question. M&Q LLP submits the following information on 31st March 2022. Based on the given data, prepare a statement of cost. Now, I will explain to you कि क्वेश्चन ਨੂੰ अटेम्प्ट कितना करना है. सब तो पहले क्वेश्चन ਨੂੰ रीड आउट करना है. रीड आउट करके then we will start with the solution. Sales given is 2,75,000. Inventories in the beginning, finished goods and WIP. ध्यान रखना, that is FG and that is WIP. Both are opening. Opening FG and opening WIP. Purchase of material is 1,10,000. Material inventory at the beginning and at the end is 3,000 and 4,000. Direct labor is 65,000. Factory overhead is 60% of the direct labor cost. Inventory at the end of the year. Inventory at the end. Closing FG, closing WIP, 8,000 and 6,000. Other expenses. Selling expenses is 10% of the sales and admin expenses is the 5% of the sales. This is a question. We'll prepare a cost sheet. Question number 5, page number 38 of your module. Amount and particulars. First of all, we have to calculate the raw material consumed. For raw material consumed, we need opening and closing inventory plus purchases. Opening and closing inventory is 3,000 and 4,000 and purchases is 1,10,000. Give me a minute. Yes. Opening raw material is 3,000. Add purchases during the year. That is 1,10,000 minus closing stock of raw material. That is 4,000. We will get the raw material consumed. Amount is 1,09,000. Next, we will add direct labor. Direct labor is 65,000. Factory overhead is 60% of direct labor cost. And we have WIP opening and closing stock. First of all, we will write direct labor, that is the 65,000. If we add direct labor, we will get the total of 1,09,000 and 65,000. It is 1,74,000. Now, direct expenses are not there. We can treat it as a prime cost. In prime cost, we will add factory overheads. Factory overheads are in the question, it is 60% of direct labor cost, and opening WIP is 4,000 and closing WIP is 6,000. Okay. Factory overhead is 60% of direct labor cost, which is 39,000. Total becomes the work oblique factory cost, that is rupees 213,000, 1,74,000 and 39,000. Next, we will adjust opening and closing WIP 4,000 and 6,000. Add opening WIP 4,000 less closing WIP, that is 6,000. Negative 2,000 is 2,11,000. We will get the, what we will get? Yes, please, anyone tell? Prime cost, then factory cost, then adjustment of factory cost. It is, we will also add here, it is administration overheads. Then we will get the cost of production. Yes, cost of production. Let's see what are the admin overheads. Admin overheads are the 5% of sales. Sales is 2,75,000. So, calculate करके दसो 2,75,000. The 5% is the admin overhead. That is rupees. Yes, please, anyone? Fast, do calculation.
13,750.
Very nice. 13,750. Add 2,11,000 and 13,750. We will get the 224750. That is the cost of production. Next, in cost of production, we will add opening and closing finished goods. Add opening FG minus closing FG. We will get the cost of goods sold. In cost of goods sold, we will add selling and distribution overheads. We will get the cost of, yes, cost of, anyone? Yes, please.
Yes.
Sales.
Very nice. Very nice. Cost of sales. Let's have a look. Opening FG is 7,000 and closing is 8,000 and selling expenses is 10% of the sales. Now we'll adjust. Opening FG is 7,000 and closing is 8,000. Adjustment of 1,000. We will get the cost of goods sold 223,750. Now, selling and distribution is 10% of sales. That is 2,75,000 ka 10%. That is 27,500. We will get the cost of sales. Cost of sales is 2,51,250. Next is we have sales. Sales is 2,75,000. Here we get the profit through balancing figure. It is, yes, please tell anyone what should be our profit. Difference of 2,75,000 and 2,51,250 is our profit. That is
23,750.
750. That is the profit. This is the detailed cost sheet. Question number 5. Is it clear to everyone? Any doubt in this question? Any doubt to anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am.
Next is question number 5th. I will explain this question number 5th to you. Question number 5th says X Limited provides you the following figure for the year 2021 and 22. Direct material is given, direct wages is given, production overheads is given, admin overheads is given, selling and distribution overhead 2/3 is fixed, sales is given. Output and the sales quantity will increase by 20% by incurring additional advertisement expenses of 45,200. क्वेश्चन की कह रहे हैं कि आउटपुट एंड सेल्स क्वांटिटी 20% से इंक्रीज हो जाए देन एडवर्टीजमेंट एक्सपेंसेस भी इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे 45,200. गॉट इट. मटेरियल प्राइस भी 3,20,000 is the direct material cost. 22-23 which material price भी 10% तो up हो जाएंगे. Got it. Work wage rate will also go up by 5%, but increase in overall labor efficiency by 12%. Labor efficiency increase होएगी, cost reduce होएगी. ये चीज बहुत ध्यान रखना. That is very, very important. If labor efficiency increases, then cost decreases. Variable overhead will increase by 5%. Fixed production overhead will increase by 33.3%. What we have to calculate is it is required the cost of sales and new selling price if same amount of profit is earned in 2021-22. Same percentage of profit on sales to be earned, existing percentage of profit to sales, and if profit per unit ₹10 to be earned. Then we have to compute the cost of sales. This is the question. I will explain this solution in the book itself. Try to do it in your notebook. In case of any doubt, you will ask. Just give me a minute. Question number 5, 6. Question number 5. See, we have sales unit given, that is the sales amount given, that is the 25 lakh, and sales unit is 125 rupees. Again, we will look at the question. Sale is 25 lakh and sale per unit is rupees 125. Then 25,000 is our units. 20,000, sorry. 20,000 is your units. With the help of these units, we will calculate the quantity. Material price will go up by 10%, wage rate, variable overhead increase by 5%, and fixed production overhead. Okay. Direct material is given 3,20,000. Direct wages is 8 lakh. Prime cost is 11,20,000 in the year 21-22. In the year 22-23, we say 20% increase in sales. That is 20,000 ka 120% is 24,000. Direct material is 3,20,000 multiply by 20% of the sales unit multiply by 10% material price up. दोनों नु consider करेंगे. Sales unit भी, material price भी. We get the 4,22,400. Direct wages is 80,000, 8 lakh. 8 lakh, 120%, that is a sales unit increase. 5% increase in the wages rate, but overall efficiency increases, which helps in decreasing the cost. यह चीज बहुत ध्यान रखना, and please इस question ਨੂੰ notebook ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ try करना, क्योंकि 2-3 बार try करोगे ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਆਏਗਾ exactly question paper ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ. Solution जब तक ਤੁਸੀਂ अपने पेन पेपर से नहीं करोगे तब तक नहीं clear होएगा. Prime cost is 11,20,000 in the year 21-22 and 22-23 it is 13,22,400. Admin overheads is 25% variable and 75% fixed according to the question. It is 1,20,000 and 3,60,000. Fixed production overhead increases with 33%. Multiply by 133%, we will get the fixed production overhead. Variable overhead is 20% sales unit da, because fixed cost change nahi hoegi. Sales de quantity de increase होने नाल साडी variable production overhead भी change आएगा. यह चीज दा बहुत ध्यान रखना. 5% up हो गए variable production overhead. According to the adjustment entries, we will get the 1,51,200 as the variable production overhead. We will get the work cost, that is 16 lakh and 19,53,600. Next is the variable admin overhead. Same 75% fixed and 25% variable. 1,60,000 the fixed and variable portion कर लिया. But fixed admin overhead ले कोई भी adjustment entry नहीं सी. Then 1,20,000 as it is same लिखता. Variable overhead same 5% तो increase होई सी 120 to 120%, 50,400. Total we will get the cost of production 17,60,000 and 21,24,000. Variable selling overhead same 120%, 105%. Adjustments given 2/3 is fixed and 1/3 is variable of 2,40,000. Same 160, 160 and 1,08,000 is the variable selling overheads. Advertisement expenses 45,200 increase हो गए in the year 22-23, but इस year which नहीं सी, we will get the cost of sales. Now, question says in adjustment entry, if selling price of 22-23 is same, then the same amount of profit to be earned in 21-22. कितना calculate कर सकते हैं same amount of profit? That is the formula for the desired profit. It is cost of sales plus desired profit or expected profit divided by number of units. That is 122.08. Desired profit in the year 21-22 is 25 lakh is the sales minus cost of sales, that is 20. Desired profit is 5 lakh. What is the expected selling price? It is 122.08. It is the desired selling price in the year 22-23. Next point is selling price. Just give me a minute. Next is the selling price is in the year 22-23 if the same percentage of profit to sales earned is 20 is in the 21-22. Percentage of profit to sales. Sales is 25 lakh in the year 21-22. Profit is 5 lakh. Percentage is 20%. We can say कि 20% earn कितना अपना 21-22 which 22-23 which we same percent earn करनी है profit दी selling price की रखिए. Formula for sales is equal to cost of sales plus profit. Sales is in the year 22 and 23 is, we can say we have to calculate the sales. Cost of sales is 24,30,000 plus desired profit, that is 20% of sales. Therefore, we get sales is 30,37,500 and we will get divided it by 24,000. That is the selling price, selling units. We will get the desired selling price. So, similarly, other things remains constant. Selling price होए, profit, desired profit होए, you can basically जो question पूछे है, demand है question दी, according to the demand of the, you can say according to the demand of the question, we have to attempt our answer. We have to attempt the question and answer ਨੂੰ derive करना likewise जितना question पूछ रहे हैं. Question number 5 ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਪਲੀਟ ਆਪਣੀ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਨਾ. Other questions, question number you can say 7, 8